So there's something interesting going on with Nintendo Switch Online at the moment, because you're probably well aware that in the year of 2024, we have not seen any additional new systems added to the console. And the belief is that Nintendo's probably holding something like that back for their next gen hardware, a revamp of the service, something of a Nintendo Switch Online 2.0 launch when the next gen hardware does launch. And while that is probably what we will see Nintendo end up doing, there was recently, of course, their museum grand opening, and in a recent interview with Mr. Miyamoto himself surrounding the museum, it was revealed that Nintendo actually has an additional system running that is not currently on Nintendo Switch Online in order to emulate their games. Could be a telltale sign of an extra system that's around the corner from being added to the service, could not be. Also have a couple official update stories we need to tackle with NSO, because there have been a couple new games announced that will be hitting the expansion pack tier of the service, and even a way that you can check out a 14-day free trial if you purchase a particular Nintendo game that now has that promotion tied to it. So we're going to get on the same page with everything. Before we do, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your bell notification to join Sunbro Nation if you're new here. And we have to first kick it off with the couple official updates that are tied to the service, not the speculation territory, not what Nintendo system might be added next, but just a few different things that are going on with the service that you might want to be aware of. The first and most straightforward update is just a quick mention of a new trial promotion that Nintendo is running, where if you purchase any of these select digital games, which you do have to purchase them digitally, not physically. It's almost like one day Nintendo will want us to go to all digital, but nonetheless, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Nintendo Switch Sports, Nintendo World Championships NES Edition, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe all come with a free 14-day trial of Nintendo Switch Online, of course, assuming you are not already a member, and this is for the base tier of the service. I am not aware of a trial for any kind of expansion pack tier that they've run so far, and that is still locked behind only an annual plan. So I do hope they do a trial program for the expansion pack tier in the future, and I also hope that we see a monthly option alongside of the annual option for the purchase. But nonetheless, if you were in the market for any of those said games and you pick them up on the eShop, you do get 14 days of free NSO base tier membership time. Now from there, we have a pretty exciting update for probably Nintendo's biggest Nintendo Switch Online ongoing project, which is F-Zero 99. I hope this game is here for the long haul, because it has definitely got probably the longest running roadmap of additional support as time has gone on. As you can see, this next following post, which is additional content for F-Zero 99, is now available for Nintendo Switch Online members. New League, Grand Prix Ace League, 5 new tracks, new machine decals, and expanded practice mode. There's a ton of different updates and changes you can read through in the patch notes. And again, this is just a quality, fun throwback racing game, but it's an original experience in the F-Zero franchise. And while I absolutely want to see a fresh F-Zero game hit Nintendo Switch Online, F-Zero is actually the topic of our next update to NSO as well, because it is getting more love as a franchise than we've seen Nintendo provide it in a very long time. And again, now the only hope is maybe we get an F-Zero GX remake / remaster, or maybe even just a fresh entry in the series. But you can then see the next announcement for a future NSO update that will be hitting the expansion pack tier, which reads: take down Zoda and his Dark Million organization in F-Zero Climax and enter the ultra high-speed F-Zero Grand Prix races in F-Zero GP Legend. These two classic Game Boy Advance F-Zero games are coming to Nintendo Switch for Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack members on 10/11. So October 11th is when this will be available for anybody that wants to check out these two games. Very notably, while one of these was released in the US with GP Legend, it will actually be the first time that we see F-Zero Climax released over in this region of the world. And that is definitely something Nintendo's been dipping into quite a bit more recently with NSO updates, just releasing a lot of their first party stuff that they own the rights to that never got localized. So this is going to be a pretty cool addition, and it is 2 expansion pack tier games, which is actually notable because lately with the expansion pack tier, it's been hit and miss if it gets an update at all. The base tier has kind of gone back to being sporadic as well. Will we get an update in October? Will we not? I don't know. While there was a pretty solid track record of Nintendo doing both tiers getting an update at least once per month in the earlier part of 2024, that definitely fell off after that June Nintendo Direct timeframe. And these last few months, months, we've really been left waiting. And not to mention, when you talk about Nintendo Directs, one thing that we often saw revealed at Nintendo Directs was some kind of big Nintendo Switch Online section where we would either get a lot of different games revealed all at once, or we would see a roadmap of upcoming N64 games and things like that, or the biggest thing, a new additional console, which is really a big selling point for why you want to stay a member of NSO if you've played through most of what's available in your current system's games libraries. Well, that is where this next story comes into play, and while this is still in the realm of speculation on whether or not the system will ultimately make it to Nintendo Switch Online, I think it's very interesting that Nintendo has put in some development work to actually get one of their systems from their past that did not sell well, by the way, and was kind of a commercial failure. It's up and running on Nintendo Switch hardware via emulation already, as that's been confirmed from a Miyamoto interview, and we are talking about none other than Virtual Boy. Yes, that is right, Nintendo blazing trails back in the day and trying to get into VR far before it was really a fleshed out technology and really ready for it. A headset that you looked into that displayed a 3D image. It has some games that, you know, probably many people haven't played. I know I haven't spent any length of time on any Virtual Boy games, even through emulation. So the cool thing about that is this entire library would be fresh to me whenever it does make it over. But you can see the following post from well-known data miner Luigi Blood, which reads, Miyamoto confirmed they're using a Switch to emulate the Virtual Boy at the Nintendo Museum during an interview with IGN Japan. And he then chimes in with his own thoughts on why it's not on NSO yet with this working, and our thoughts align. So I wanted to read through that here. He says, here's my additional 2 cents about why there's no Virtual Boy NSO yet. The emulator was probably newly made for the museum. Now that there's some motivation for it, and they'll probably wait until the next big NSO revamp to release it. Now, you may or may not remember quite a while back on the channel, right around the middle of July, there was a post that was making the rounds online from a leaker that I don't necessarily give all the credit in the world to. They've definitely gotten some things right. They've also put a lot out there that has remained to come true, or may even just be factually wrong. But an account by the name of Nash Weedle posts all types of claims over on Twitter, and some things being right, like the claim that Mario and Luigi was getting ready to come back ahead of Nintendo's announcement for that series, and then we saw the confirmation at the June Direct. Then there was this interesting leak about Virtual Boy making it back to Nintendo in a big way, where he said, Leak Express, Virtual Boy games aren't lost in limbo. Some of the console's best games being adapted to be played comfortably in 2D, and it seems that they will also keep the 3D version. It is not known yet if they will arrive in a compilation or for the NSO service. So again, you really don't have to take that particular leak, if you want to call it that, as fact, but the reality is that Nintendo put in development time into getting Virtual Boy games to run on Nintendo Switch hardware the same way they run all the other consoles, through emulation with Nintendo Switch Online. And I do think that that's notable because it probably means at some point in time, whether it be towards the end of the Switch's life cycle and it hits the updates for the current NSO we have today, or if it's something that's held back for the next gen revamp of the new online service, I think Nintendo's going to bring the Virtual Boy library of games to the NSO library of consoles, which is just a win at the end of the day, because these are games that are hard to track down, not that easy to find in their original form. And if you emulate them, yeah, you can do that, but much cooler to have an experience on your Nintendo Switch seamlessly anywhere you're at, portably or in docked mode. And maybe Nintendo even gets a little bit crazy and does like a Labo VR set for this thing, where you can actually make it a little bit more like the original Virtual Boy experience was. And who knows, Nintendo might be toying around with something a little bit more official in the VR realm for their next gen hardware. So maybe we'll be playing Virtual Boy in a more impressive way in the middle of the 2020s than we really would have thought. But nonetheless, it is the logical progression for the service to head in the direction of supporting more systems. I definitely think one day we're going to be talking about GameCube and Wii games being added in there. There's no doubt we'll be talking about DS and 3DS as well. Even the DS library of games already being available on Virtual Console on past systems, like that one's definitely in line to be added. But Nintendo's going to continue to drip feed the service over the course of time, not throw all the updates as a front load option up front, but rather string this out over the next 5 to 7 years for the entire next gen life cycle of their hardware. And that ultimately means that when we make it to the end of that time period, we're going to be able to look back and enjoy a lot of timeless Nintendo classics, all tied to this one subscription service. So that's where I really want to hear from you guys at this point in the video. What do you make of all of the different NSO updates we talked about today? Are you excited for these these two F-Zero games, one of which was never released in the North American region of the world, to hit as soon as October 11th. I should also mention you will actually see those go live the night of the 10th because they do update NSO with Japan time. So basically late on the 10th is when you will be able to hop in and play those games. And what do you think about all the ongoing support for F-Zero 99? And do you think that Virtual Boy, now that it has an official emulator built for Nintendo Switch hardware, will indeed be one of the next consoles we see revealed for Nintendo Switch Online? And do you think that will happen as soon as something like the next February Direct for the current console? Or do you think Nintendo will be saving something like that for their next gen hardware and full revamp of their online subscription service for Nintendo Switch 2? So make sure you share all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below before you leave, regardless if we agree or disagree. Also make sure you like, subscribe, turn your notification bell. And with that, I've been Sunbro, you've been Nation. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.